Good afternoon. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here. My name is Mrs. Watson. I'm one of the third grade teachers along with Mrs. DeLong, and we're very excited for our Greek Myths play. It's an annual play that we produce every year because all year long our students have been studying and learning about these myths, and so now they get to actually perform some scenes about their favorite characters and their favorite stories. Every year I probably have at least one parent ask me, why do we study Greek myths at Highlands Latin School? So I always like to use this opportunity to explain that. I suppose the best reason is because we're a classical school, and studying ancient Greece is a way of laying the foundation for understanding Western civilization. But we're also a Christian school, and so studying the Greco-Roman world is also important in understanding the context in which the scriptures are set and where Christ was born and where early Christianity spread. They're also helping to prepare students for learning about great literature that they will read later on in their upper school years, such as Dante or Milton. Both of those are loaded with classical references. I read Dante over the summer and I learned that. And I was so excited that I had studied Greek myths with my third graders because I understood some of the references in Dante. They're also just great literature in and of themselves. They're fun to read and fun to study, and I think you'll see that as our students get up and perform them. But my personal favorite reason for teaching Greek myths is because even though they're not the truth, right? Revelation came through Christ and Him alone. They do help us point to the truth. They provide a window that we can look into and see the truth more clearly. Or as one of my favorite authors, C.S. Lewis, put it, God sent the pagans good dreams. So as we study these good dreams, we get to see the reality of Christ more clearly and more profoundly, and that's probably my favorite personal reason for teaching them. So we unapologetically enjoy reading and studying Greek myths here at Highlands Latin School. So I hope that you will also enjoy our performance. So sit back, turn off your cell phones, and relax and enjoy the play.
Welcome to the Banquet of the Gods. Please make yourself at home in our banquet halls as the gods introduce themselves.
In olden times, when men still worshipped ugly idols, there lived in the land of Greece a folk of shepherds and herdsmen who cherished light and beauty. They did not worship dark idols like their neighbors, but created instead their own beautiful, radiant gods. The Greek gods looked much like people and acted like them too, only they were taller, handsomer, and could do no wrong. Fire-breathing monsters and beasts with many heads stood for all that was dark and wicked. They were for gods and great heroes to conquer.
The gods lived on top of Mount Olympus, a mountain so high and steep that no man could climb it and see them in their shining palace. But they often descended to earth, sometimes in their own shapes, or sometimes disguised as humans or animals.
Mortals worship the gods, and the gods honor Mother Earth. They all sprung from her, for she was the beginning of all life.
Gaia, the earth, came out of darkness so long ago that no one knows when or how. Earth was young and lonely, for nothing lived on her yet.
She met Uranus, the sky, and the two were married. Soon young Earth became Mother Earth, mother of all living things. All their children loved their warm, bountiful mother and feared their mighty father, Uranus, Lord of the universe.
Mother Earth had 3 sets of children, the 12 Titans, the 3 Cyclops, and the 3 children with 50 heads. Uranus was disgusted with the ugliness of the Cyclops and the 50-headed children, so he threw them all into Tartarus.
The deepest, darkest pit under the earth.
But Mother Earth loved all her children and wanted them to be free. She went to Cronus, the youngest Titan, for help.
Although I am young, I am strong. I will free my brothers using the sickle that my mother gave me.
Cronus was now lord of the universe. He married the Titaness Rhea, and they ruled over the heaven and the earth with a firm hand. This was man's golden age, when men lived happily and in peace with the gods and each other. They did not kill. They had no locks on doors, for theft had not yet been invented. However, Cronus did not learn from the mistakes of his father. To prevent his own children from taking his throne, he decided to swallow each of them soon after they were born.
I cannot tell how this grieves me. All my sisters are married and have children, yet I am alone. Perhaps Mother Earth can help me save my children. What a wonderful plan. Instead of my newborn son Zeus, I will give Cronus a rock.
Zeus was spirited away to Liana Creek, where he grew in safety. Zeus grew rapidly, and it was not long before he strode out of his cave as a great new god.
Now that I am grown, it is time for me to avenge my brothers and sisters, using these thunderbolts the Cyclops have made me to defeat Cronus and rescue my siblings so they can share my power.
Zeus won a great victory over Cronus that day and became the next lord of the universe. He proudly took his throne on Mount Olympus, and one by one his siblings joined him, starting with his wife Hera.
I am the beautiful Queen of Olympus, and I am very jealous. Zeus fears nothing except my fits of temper. I detest all of Zeus's other wives, especially the mortal ones. Whenever I see that Zeus has another wife, I find my way to make her life miserable. One of my favorite torments is to send a swarm of gadflies after my enemy. I'm Hestia, the eldest sister of Zeus and the goddess of the hearth. I tend the sacred fire here on Mount Olympus, and every hearth on earth is an altar to me, and unlike my sisters Hera, I prefer gentleness and kindness. I'm Demeter, goddess of the harvest. I cause all plants and crops to grow, providing food and beauty for the people of the earth. My daughter Persephone is my constant companion. I love her dearly and cannot bear to have her out of my sight. But one day, as she was playing in a meadow, she strayed away from me. I searched far and wide, but I could not find my precious daughter. With the help of a swineherd, I discovered she had been stolen by Hades.
I am the Lord of the Dead, and I stole Persephone. I am a god of few words.
Hades brought me to the underworld, where I learned that all mortals fear him and call the rich one, because all the treasures of the ground are his. They also call him the hospitable one, because there's always room for one more in the underworld. After he stole me, I became his wife and the queen of the underworld, who I did not want to stay.
Zeus persuaded Hades to let Persephone return to her mother for part of the year. However, because she had eaten some pomegranate seeds, she was required to spend 3 months of each year in the underworld. During the months Persephone was in the underworld, Demeter would grieve, and the earth would produce nothing. But when she returned, the whole earth would burst into bloom. As long as mother and daughter were together, the earth was warm and bore fruit.
I'm Poseidon, lord of the sea. I'm a moody and violent god. People call me the Earthshaker, because when I strike the ground with my trident, the earth trembles and splits open. When I strike the sea, waves rise high and sink ships. But when I'm calm, the sea is still. I'm rarely at home because I love to race the waves with my team of Snow White horses.
Now that all my siblings are seated, I'd like you to meet my Olympian children.
You may have noticed my limp. I haven't always walked this way. I am Hephaestus, son of Zeus and Hera, goddess mist and fire. I am a hard-working, peace-loving god, and I am very fond of my mother. One day my parents were quarreling and I took sides with Hera. That made Zeus so mad he seized my legs and flung me all the way to the island of Meadows. Despite my weak legs, I am a skilled metalsmith. In fact, I built these 12 thrones. What do you think of my handiwork? Great! Oh, and here comes my wife, Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty.
I am not actually a child of Zeus. I have neither a mother nor a father. The west wind greeted me as I rose out of the sea on a cushion of foam. He blew me to the island of Cythera, where I was welcomed by the three Graces. They sent me in a golden chariot to Mount Olympus, where I was made one of the gods. Zeus worried that since I am so beautiful, the gods would fight to marry me, so he chose my husband Hephaestus for me. To be honest, I'd rather be married to tall and handsome Ares.
I'm Ares, god of war, and I am great. Some people think I'm cruel because I love wars for war's sake. I don't care what side I'm on, as long as there's much bloodshed. I have killed many with this sword.
Stop your wailing and be seated.
That is my brother Ares. But none of us are very fond of him, although his vanity and senseless bloodshed. I am Athena, the goddess of wisdom, my father's favorite child. I sprang fully grown from my father's head. I have used this shield in many battles. Unlike my brother Ares, I only fight for just causes. You may have heard of the city of Athens. I won that city in a contest against Poseidon. He gave the city an useless salty spring, but I gave it an olive tree with many practical uses. I now watch over and shower the city with arts and crafts.
I am Apollo, the god of light, music, and reason, and this is my twin sister Artemis.
I am the goddess of the hunt and all newborn creatures.
My father gifted each of us with a silver bow and a quiver of arrows. My arrows are hard and piercing.
My arrows are soft as moonbeams and bring a painless death. My father has consented to allow me never to marry. I remain a wild young huntress forever. My brother and I get along beautifully, except for the time when I became good friends with the great hunter Orion. Apollo was just plain jealous. Even though he sent a scorpion that killed Orion, I couldn't stay angry with him for long. Together we hung Orion's image in the sky as a constellation.
Apollo also trained the 9 muses to sing. They sang of gods and great kings and heroes, all descended from mighty Zeus. There are just a few of these brave and noble mortals.
My name is Odysseus. I'm a wise and just prince of Greece. I fought in the Trojan War.
I am Perseus, and I have defeated the evil Gorgon Medusa.
I am Orion, a giant hunter, a companion to Artemis.
Jason is my name. I led the Argonauts into the quest of the Golden Fleece.
I am Hercules, the strongest man ever to live.
I am Theseus, the hero of Athens, who slew the Minotaur with the help of this magic thread.
And I am Aeneas, son of Aphrodite, the last of the royal house of Troy. I alone survived the war and made my way to the kingdom of Italy, where my descendants went on to found the mighty city of Rome.
The tales of these heroes and brave men still ring in our ears as we listen to the muses play and sing. Perhaps you have been wondering where the lyre used by Apollo to twain the muses came from. Well, Apollo traded it for a cow, but perhaps his brother Hermes will tell you that story.
remember that day well. I have always been rather a precocious god. One day when I was just born, I decided to steal the sacred white cows of Apollo. I cleverly made it look as though a giant led something into the pasture, but nothing out. I hid the cows, sacrificed 2 of them to the gods, and used their entrails as lyre strings. When Apollo came looking for me, I feigned innocence. He chased me to Mount Olympus, where I traded my lyre in exchange for the remaining cows and his magic wand. So do you see now why I am the god of merchants, travelers, thieves, and all who live by their wits? I enable men to use words of persuasion to talk themselves out of trouble.
Hermes had a few other jobs as well. His gift for talking made him the perfect herald of the gods. He also kindly guided dead souls in the last voyage to Hades in the underworld. Now all the thrones are full.
But wait, I have one more son, Dionysus, the god of wine.
Are you kidding me? His mother was mortal. He can't join us. Besides, there are no more thrones. He may have my throne. I'd rather be closest to the heart. What?
Enough, Hera.
Thank you, Father and gracious Hestia. It is true. My mother was mortal and died before I was born. But with my quick thinking father, he sewed me under the skin of his own leg until I was born. I was raised by the nymphs in the valley of Nysa, where I learned to make wine from the grapes that flourish there. I taught my skill of mankind to bring much joy, and that is when my father decided it was time for me to come to Mount Olympus. Now, I would love to share this bountiful feast with you. Ganymede, are the nectar and ambrosia ready?
Yes, ready and waiting for you all. Shall I begin with the nectar? Everything must come to an end. So did the rule of Zeus and the other Olympian gods. All that is left of their glory on earth are broken temples and noble statues. Also, the muses fell silent, but their songs still live unto this very day, and the constellations put out by the gods still glitter on the dark blue vault of the sky.
Thank you for visiting us on Mount Olympus today. Please help yourselves to the nectar and ambrosia on the side tables. Enjoy.